A natural phenomena is a threat that exists out of a naturally occurring event that has a negative effect on the humans. If we say it more precisely, it's when the hazardous threat actually happens and starts to harm humans, we call the event a natural disaster. Natural hazards and its resulting disasters are actually a result of naturally occurring processes that have operated throughout the history of the Earth. Most hazardous processes are also known as geological processes. Geological processes affect every human on the Earth and at all the times, but they are most noticeable when they start causing loss of human life and or property. Among all the natural hazards, some of the most disastrous ones are considered to be hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, landslides, floods, droughts, and tornadoes. Hurricanes are one of nature's most powerful storms which produce strong winds, strong surge flooding, and heavy rainfall that can even lead to inland flooding, tornadoes, and rip currents. Hurricanes are caused when warm moist air over water begins to rise and the rising air is replaced by cooler air. This process continues to grow large clouds and thunderstorms. These thunderstorms then continue to grow and begin to rotate. They form near the equator or warm ocean waters. They are dangerous as they can cause major damage because of storm surge, wind damage, rip currents, and flooding. Today in this video, we will talk about 10 of the most devastating hurricanes that changed the history. So without any further ado, let's begin. Number 10. Hurricane Andrew. Hurricane Andrew, that struck the Bahamas, Florida, and Louisiana in August 1992, was a very powerful and destructive Category 5 Atlantic hurricane. It's the most destructive hurricane to ever hit Florida in terms of structures damaged or destroyed. It was the strongest landfalling hurricane in decades and was the costliest hurricane that made landfall anywhere in the US until year 2015. A Category 5 hurricane has maximum sustained winds of at least 156 miles per hour. Hurricane Andrew destroyed more than 63,500 houses and damaged more than 124,000 others. It caused $27.3 billion in damage and left 65 people dead. Number 9. Hurricane Pauline. One of the deadliest Pacific hurricanes to make landfall in Mexico. Hurricane Pauline, which was a Category 4 hurricane, was developed out of a tropical wave from Africa on September 16, 1997. It moved across South America and into the Pacific Ocean and produced torrential rainfall along the Mexican coastline, which peaked at 32.62 inches, approx 930 millimeters in Puente. It caused intense flooding and mudslides in some of the poorest areas of Mexico, which killed between 230 and 500 people. It is one of the deadliest Eastern Pacific storms recorded in the history. The passage of Hurricane Pauline destroyed or damaged tens of thousands of houses, which left around 300,000 people homeless. It caused $447.8 million in damage. Number 8. Hurricane Katrina. In late August 2005, the large and destructive Category 5 Hurricane Katrina was the Atlantic hurricane that caused over 1,800 fatalities. It caused $125 billion in damage, especially in the city of New Orleans and its surrounding areas. This hurricane is the fourth most intense Atlantic hurricane on record to make landfall in the contiguous United States. New Orleans was 80% underwater due to this hurricane that lasted over 1 week and had winds up to 280 kilometers per hour. Along the hurricane, it even spawned massive tornadoes that made all their way to Pennsylvania. Number 7. Hurricane Okeechobee. The 1928 Okeechobee hurricane, which is also known as the San Felipe Segundo hurricane, was one of the deadliest hurricanes in the recorded history of the North Atlantic Basin. It is also the third deadliest hurricane in the US, which stays only behind the 1900 Galveston hurricane and Hurricane Maria. The hurricane in Okeechobee was a Category 5 which peaked with sustained winds of 160 miles per hour or 260 km per hour. It has very strong winds which resulted in severe damage in Puerto Rico, due to which 24,728 homes were destroyed. Almost 200,000 homes are damaged throughout the island, which left over 500,000 people homeless. It killed around 2,500 people. Number 6. Hurricane Maria. Another deadly Category 5 hurricane is the Hurricane Maria that damaged the northeastern Caribbean in the month of September 2017, particularly Dominica, Saint Croix, and Puerto Rico. This hurricane is regarded to be the worst natural disaster recorded in the history to affect the aforementioned islands. Total monetary losses due to this one is estimated to be above $91.61 billion, most in Puerto Rico, which ranks it as the third costliest tropical cyclone on record. Its peak intensity was reached with maximum sustained winds of 175 miles per hour or 280 kilometers per hour. It had a catastrophic effect on Dominica, which destroyed it completely, along with the housing stock and infrastructure which were beyond repair. It eradicated the island's lush vegetation, and its neighboring islands also had to go through widespread flooding, damaged roof and uprooted trees. It killed over 3,000 people. Number 5. Hurricane Flora. Among the list of the deadliest Atlantic hurricanes recorded in the history is Hurricane Flora. It formed on September 26, 1963 and got dissipated on October 13, 1963, making it last for almost 17-18 days. 7,193 fatalities were reported as damage to human lives, and total monetary losses due to this one is $773.4 million. It raised maximum sustained winds of 145 miles per hour or 233 kilometers per hour in the Caribbean. It affected northern South America, Lesser Antilles, Leeward Antilles, Trinidad and Tobago, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Cuba, Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands, Bermuda and eastern Canada. The flooding that was a result from the hurricane is considered to be the most extensive on record, as it greatly damaged bridges and roads, which left many of them impassable for several months after the hurricane struck. Number 4. Hurricane Fifi Orlean. Hurricane Fifi, which was later known as Hurricane Orlean, is the third deadliest Atlantic hurricane on record. It impacted 9 countries and left over 8,200 fatalities and $9.45 billion in damages. This hurricane brought continuous rainfall to the area for 3 days and hampered relief efforts to become the worst disaster in Honduras history at the time. In a single day, up to 6,000 dead bodies had to be burnt. Continuous rain fell throughout the day, which resulted in widespread mudslides that became the reason of the death of over 2,000 people. In the city of Cholama, an estimated 2,800 to 5,000 people were killed out of a population of 7,000, which is over 70%. Number 3. The Great Galveston Hurricane. The Great Galveston Hurricane, or the Galveston Flood, is the deadliest natural disaster in the US history. Regionally, it is also known as the Great Storm of 1900 or the 1900 Storm. It was a Category 4 hurricane that traveled a very long distance and even killed people in the east coast of Canada. It lasted for almost 20 days and had winds up to 230 kilometers per hour. Galveston, Texas was flooded with water with heights of up to 12 feet. That is even more than most of the swimming pools. It killed around 10,000 people and 30,000 people were left homeless out of the 38,000 total population. Number 2. Hurricane Mitch. The second deadliest Atlantic hurricane on record and the deadliest hurricane in the Central American history is the Hurricane Mitch. It lasted over 2 weeks and stayed strong throughout the course of its disaster. It set Honduras 50 years back of its economic development. It also affected historical buildings that were over 350 years old. Fatalities due to flooding made it the second deadliest Atlantic hurricane in the history of hurricanes. It killed at least 11,374 people, with over 11,000 left missing by the end of 1998. Total damages that were caused by this hurricane were estimated to be around $6 billion. Number 1. Great Hurricane of 1780. Also known as the Hurricane San Calixto, the Great Hurricane of the Antilles, the Great Hurricane of the West Indies, and the 1780 disaster. The Great Hurricane of 1780 was the deadliest Atlantic hurricane on record. It was a Category 5 hurricane with wind speeds as high as 200 miles per hour or 320 kilometers per hour, which makes it the highest wind speed in the history. The hurricane killed nearly 25,000 people and made it the deadliest hurricane ever in the recorded history of the Atlantic hurricane basin. This hurricane stripped the bark of trees and every house and fort on Barbados got destroyed. According to a British admiral, the winds carried their heavy cannons 100 feet up in the air. That's all in this list. So which of these hurricanes did you find the scariest? Let us know in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.